get caught up in the routine of it all. Like, it's the whole like idea of being like a lukewarm Christian. Like, you just go through the motions of it without even realizing you're not actually doing what the Lord called you to do in the first place. And I could say that big shift for me was like when I moved schools, 6th grade to 7th grade, I moved to Wing Christian Grammar. Fantastic school. I know a few of you go there, but it was a weird time for me. I was in like a really rough spot, as in I was just like awkward. I didn't know social stuff. And so like I go to this new school after being at a school with my friends for 9 years, and only thing I could ask for was just like someone to talk to, just like a friend. Actually, not even a friend, just like an acquaintance, just someone to talk to. I wasn't that desperate. Or no, I was desperate. I wasn't picky. What that led me to was finding like a group of guys that I got clicked with. Like, we found some interest, like with games and stuff, similar games. Spent a few years with them, like went to high school with them. And what I've noticed very quickly was that they're a lot cruder than my old friends. Like, use a lot heavier language. I think like one of the first times I heard like the F word like in person was with this group of friends at my school, which was just like shocking to me from like my where I went before. And so hung out with like these guys like all the time, every day. And then after like a few years, like especially going into high school, you become who you hang around with most. And so like I started talking like how they talk, like and back to like and I was a good Christian kid, did not swear, which I felt like gave a pass to talking and participating to what their stuff. I'm still a Christian. I don't swear. I don't drink underage. Then if I'm saying all that stuff, that means I met the quota, the Christian quota, so I can do the other stuff. I can like hang around them, talk like they do and stuff. And I think like, I emphasize like speech because I feel like that is the main gateway into a bunch of other paths. And I became like what I would call like an unknown prodigal. Like I didn't realize what I was doing was wrong. Like who I was hanging out with was wrong. And it wasn't until like sophomore year, I would say, taking like one specific Bible class. I remember it was the first Bible class that forced me to like read the scripture not as like a history textbook, but as like something that I can apply to my life. And like something about that just hit me in like a very different way. Like before, I kind of came to realize that I was putting Jesus in like the back seat. Like the whole point of this class, like every single day, like my teacher would like share the class, would like pose the question, which is kind of like the slogan of the class, like who is on the throne of your life? Like who are you putting in place? And for me, I was putting people at the top of my life. Like I was acting like they did, talking like they did, trying to impress those people because I want to like impress them. I want to like have a community of people that I didn't have before, that I was like striving for. So with that class, I started like reading the Bible. And one of the first verses I picked up, I don't know why, like, I was just like, in my head, I didn't know where to start with reading the Bible. So I was just like, think of a book and I'll start reading it. And one of them was 1 Peter. This is 1 Peter 1, 13 through 16. Gotta find it. Forgot to bring my Bible. Yeah. Therefore, preparing your minds for action and being sober-minded, set your hope fully on the grace that you will be brought to you at the revelation of Jesus Christ. As obedient children, do not be conformed to the passions of your former ignorance, but as he who called you is holy, you also be holy in your conduct. Since it is written, you shall be holy, for I am holy. Your actions like probably speak more than words. And so I could say all these things, say a Christian, recite the Bible verses and stuff, go to church, go to youth group. But if I wasn't like, but if on the side I was still acting a different way, I was not being holy. I was not being as Christ. I wasn't magnifying him. And so, like, that was this, and then I like slowly started like reading the Bible and stuff. I'm still like in the process of it. That was only a few years ago. Sophomore year was only a few years ago. I did not figure it all out in 2 years. Like I'm still figuring it out, but what I came to realize in those 2 years though is that everything I should do should be for the glory of God, and I should act as Christ did. And when I started doing that, those friends that from middle school, they're still some of my closest friends. They've matured a lot since then. Like they're easily my closest friends, and luckily we matured. But those people I was trying to impress before kind of dropped away. Those people I was coveting after, their praise almost started going away, and I found more people like Christ. I like crazy going to Christian school for 12 years. I had like my first conversation about like a biblical topic like probably last year. I found a group of people on the side that wanted to like actually live out Christ, like what I was coming to find out was like what I was not doing. Last little like thing I wanted to say was read this like it's in John. So this is so Jesus had already started his ministry. He was baptized by John the Baptist and then started gaining his own fellowship. And then John the Baptist disciples were coming up to him and were like confused, like, this Jesus guy is taking away all of our glory, all of our turf and stuff. Like, why aren't you doing anything about it? And this is John 3:27-30. John answered, "A person cannot receive even one thing unless it is given to him from heaven. You yourselves bear me witness that I said, I am not the Christ, but I have been sent before him. The one who has the bride is the bridegroom. The friend of the bridegroom who stands and hears him rejoices greatly at the bridegroom's voice. Therefore, this joy of mine is not complete. He must increase and I must decrease." I was trying to like take control of my own life, like trying to like figure it out myself, but was not letting like Jesus do it like almost like for me. And like realize like what John was saying is that like I have to let him take, like, back to the question, he has to take the throne of my life and I must like take the back seat basically. And yeah, I'm still figuring it out, but that's kind of like been my journey, and like, yeah, that's it.
Hi, everyone. I'm Natalie. I think you heard. Anyways, I wrote up an entire speech. I'm going to try not to read from it because I stutter bad. But if I get off track, I'm going to look at it. I also wrote Bible verses in here, so I'm going to have to eventually. Okay. So, my testimony, it starts the same as Dominic's. I have been raised in a Christian home my whole life. I like have been going to church since I was little. I like went there, but I didn't really know God because like I knew who he was, but I more saw it as like a class in school because I was a homeschooler. So like the only class I know is the one my mom taught me. And like since I was a homeschooler, I really didn't get to like hear anything from like other people that like about that. So when I went to church, I thought of the like scriptures as like a history book, like Dom said. I wrote that in my notes, by the way. So we had the same idea. So I thought of it as a history book. I thought of it as a grade. I could recite any scripture anyone threw at me. I could recite any story, anything. And I like knew it. And I just was like, I want the praise. I want the people to recognize me. I like that. But that really wasn't what it's like to be Christian. That's not what it's about. And the majority of like when I realized that starts when I was like 5. Okay. My parents had they had a youth group kind of thing, not a youth group, a community group that they went to. And I went with them because they had like a child service that would be in the basement. So the child service, where we would just like go and watch movies, literally they could be any movies. I went there to hang out with my friends. But one day the parents decided to go to the movie theaters. So we're just like, we go upstairs to go watch some movie. I think it was probably August or maybe it was mid-September. I don't really remember the entire thing. But around then, they put on a horror movie. I'm 5 years old. I don't know what a horror movie. It wasn't like a bad horror movie. Like it wasn't rated R. It was an animated horror movie. But like I've never seen any horror in my life. And this was just like a shocking experience to me. It was a zombie movie. So like I saw zombies eating people and my child brain is horrified. I start having like a breakdown. I go to a different room because my mom had told me, if you see anything disturbing in anything you watch, you leave the room. So I left the room. And then the babysitter person comes up to me and she goes, hey, you can't do that. I need to watch you. So you kind of need to be in this room. And I'm like, but it's scary. And then she goes, well, I need to watch you. You can like turn around or something. The problem is this was like the main room and they had a glass door. And I saw the reflection of the movie in the glass door. So I watched the whole movie because I couldn't not look at the glass door because my eyes were drawn to it. And so I get home that night and I have a nightmare, obviously. But the thing is that for like the next 5-6 months consecutively, every night I had the same nightmare. And it just kept getting worse and worse. By worse, I mean like it kept getting more and more realistic, more gruesome. And like it started to get like realistically killing my parents and like stuff like that. Friends, family, you name it. It was gruesome and I was like having breakdowns. One night it was really bad. Every time I closed my eyes, I would just see like a face, a zombie face in my face. This sounds ridiculous, y'all. It sounds like super embarrassing, but this is like how I got saved, so I'm just gonna share it anyways. But basically, every single time I saw a zombie face, and I looked up and I was like, I can't be doing this anymore. And so I didn't know how to get saved. I'd never had the talk, okay? I'd never like talked through that with anyone or anything like that. I just close my eyes and I go praying to God. And I go, God, I know I've sinned. I'm like really sorry that I've sinned. I believe that Jesus is the Son of God. I believe that you are God, that you exist, and that Jesus came to save us from our sins. And like, I prayed that night. Gone. Nightmares. Gone. Haven't had one since. Haven't had like the same nightmare. Not like I've had nightmares since. Not that nightmare. I have not had that nightmare since I prayed the prayer. That's not all my testimony though. That's like the main portion of when I came to Christ. That's not all there really is to a testimony though. Over the years, I kind of like started growing a little bit away from God because I have a horrible memory and I forget to read my Bible all the time. And so I started to forget to read the Bible. And when you forget to read the Bible, you kind of forget to pray. So I really wasn't doing much of anything to advance my faith other than like going to church. I would go to church every Sunday and that was about it. So eventually I ended up starting to go to Westminster. After like once I started going to Westminster, I actually had like this really hard time in my life. I ended up getting there was a bunch of conflict happening at my church. Both of our pastors stepped down, and so we didn't have a pastor. And we had there was a bunch of conflict. My friends left the church. And so like I felt truly betrayed, not only by my church, but my friends left me, and I felt truly alone because no one was with me, or so I thought. God was with me, wasn't he? But like at the time I thought I was alone because in the moment I really wasn't entirely there because I didn't like think about it, but like God was with me and I thought that I was alone. And so this caused us to start looking for different churches. And we stumbled across Village Church. And I figured out that a lot of my classmates ended up going to Village Church. I'm looking over there in the corner. So I ended up like being able to talk to people because I was like, oh, my classmates go here. Oh, and then I saw Abby here at Village Church. And the thing is she went to my Awana at Grace Church, my other church. So I ended up seeing her there, and that's how we became besties. Cause so we met here, again here. And that was like the story of how we became besties because she went to Westminster freshman year. So anyways, that's not a part of the story. Sorry, Abby, you're not entirely in my testimony. Sorry, girl. Love you. Sorry. I'll try to go quicker. I'm sorry. So basically after like starting to go to Village Church, I started to get like kind of comfortable and like I fell into a rhythm. And then God hit me with a wake-up call. Matt Souls left. And I like was devastated because I love Matt Souls. Matt Souls, best guy. Clap if you agree. Clap if you agree. Matt Souls is amazing. Yeah. So I was like devastated from him leaving. And then we had Crandon counseling that summer. I went to Crandon counseling and it was one of the hardest times of my life. I will say this, like genuinely. Like for me specifically, just because when I went there, I was in charge of 8 kids and it was only me watching them and they could like pretty much go anywhere on the premises. And so it was 8 kids under 7 and they're running around and one of the kids almost fell off of like this chain link bridge. If you've been there, you know what I'm talking about. One of the kids almost fell off of that. He was like 2. And like someone was like, are you watching him? Like, and I'm like, where's the other guy? Because there was supposed to be someone else. Well, apparently the other guy was working. He had a job, and he signed up to be a daycare helper. So he wasn't there the entire week, pretty much. He wasn't helping out. I was the only one there. So I was watching 8 kids, so 4 boys, 4 girls, all by myself. And all the girls were on one side of the place, and all the boys were on the other side of the place. And it was very messy. And so I'm like trying to figure this out because I didn't even know nobody informed me that he had a job. I found this out at lunch. And so I'm like panicking. I'm like, I didn't know I was supposed to watch kids. Did anyone get hurt? Like, what's happening? Because I was aware that I was watching 4 girls and I thought he was watching the other 4 guys. No one told me. No one told me he left. Nothing. Not even a note. And not even Ashley Dewing knew. So, literally, nobody knew where he was. I asked the people in his cabin, I'm like, hey, where is he? And they're like, oh yeah, he's at work. And I'm like, what do you mean? What do you mean? So, I started panicking and I go up to Ashley and I'm like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I'm watching 8 kids. This is super stressful. And I was just panicking. And at this moment, she goes, okay, we'll figure something out. It's fine. You're going to be okay. And she has me walk around the garage kind of gym-ish building. It's like, there's like this really big building, okay, if you haven't been there. It's a really big building, and she has me like lap it. She says, lap it like 2-3 times and then come back once you're calm. I'm like, okay. So I lapped it. I lapped it 2-3 times, and then I went to the bathroom because I was like, okay, I need to like calm down, splash my face with water or something. Went into the bathroom stall. On the wall, what was there? Let me pull it up so I can quote it correctly, because I always quote it wrong. It was a Bible verse. Let me find it. Okay, found it. 1 Peter 5:7. Cast all your anxiety on him because he cares for you. I saw that on the wall, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to do that. So I started praying. I was like, God, I need you right now. I'm stressed. Got 8 kids I got to take care of. I need your help really bad. So I prayed to him, and he helped me through the day. I had a few more breakdowns, but every time I felt it coming, I went straight to the bathroom because I didn't want to cry in front of the kids. They have enough to deal with. They don't need to see me crying. Okay, I'm just like, no, I'm not going to do that. So I went into the bathroom every time I felt like I was going to break down, and I cried. But I knew God was with me. This time was different than when I was going to Grace. I knew that in my heart, God was with me. And I didn't really know that life could be like this hard. As a kid, I really didn't know that life would be hard if I believed in Christ. 2 Timothy 3:12 says, in fact, all who want to live a godly life in Jesus Christ will be persecuted. And I was not really thinking about stuff like that. I've had many times where I've been judged for being Christian. I'll be online and I'll be like, oh yeah, I'm Christian. And people are like, ew, you're Christian? I don't know what people have against Christianity. What's happened in your life that you have something against Christianity? I'm sorry that that's happened, whatever it is. But don't hold it against me. I haven't done anything against you. I get it. But don't hold it against me. I haven't done anything to you. Okay. But there's so many things that just happen in your life that you just think that because you're with Christ, it's going to be the first thing, it's going to be the best. Okay. Your life isn't going to be great. Not every time. But the good news is that if you're a Christian, if you're saved, this is the worst we're going to have to experience. If you're not saved, this is the best you will experience. That is not my kind of tea. That's not my cup of tea. Okay. I will say though, My favorite book of the Bible, the one I always go to when I don't really know what to read, it's not everyone's first choice, I will say. My first choice is always Psalms. So I always go to Psalms, and it says in Psalm 23:4, even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. In my life, I've had like a lot of hardships. A lot of pastors left. Okay, we know Matt, Abby, Ryan. Now we have Ryan. He's great. We love him. But after Ryan left and we got Ryan, he's lovely. February of that year, my grandma passed away. And at that time, I had a very rough time with my mental health. And I had thoughts of killing myself. I had a lot of very deep thoughts of, I was very stressed with homework and stuff. I got behind because I was mourning my grandmother, and I had just a lot of stuff on my mind. I felt super stressed. I felt like I wasn't enough. There were so many things on my mind. And now I'm better because I sought help. I told my mom after months of suffering, but I told my mom after a while because I had a breakdown in front of her, and I started shouting at her. I was like, I'm gonna kill myself. And she was like, no, you're not. No, you're not. And so we got help. I'm seeing a therapist now, so I get to talk through my life. It's great. She loves hearing my trauma. But yeah. So I am doing a lot better now because I actually got the help I needed, but it was a really dark time. And I ended up turning to the Bible in that time because I remembered oh, that was loud. 1 Peter 5:7, because I was anxious and worried. And so I decided to look at the Bible, and I opened up to Psalm 23. And so I was praying a lot during that time. It was a very rough time for me, but I got through it, and yeah, I'm here today. So yeah. That was a lot.
No problem. All right. 12 years ago, when I started attending Village Church and I went through their membership class, you have to submit your testimony before you can become a member. And I thought it would be funny to submit mine in the form of a haiku. So I am going to read it, and then I'll kind of flesh it out a little bit. So here we go. I said, raised in a Christian home, saved at 3, baptized at 9, word hidden, steadfast. Worked at children's church, taught in nursery, special needs, spoke in church, cleaned too. Dad died, mom survived. Churches changed, lives rearranged, grace learned, sinning spurned. I've done a lot in the church, right? And it was only when I came here that I found out there are things called a green light ministry. And I was like, what is a green light ministry? And they're like, anything you feel personally called to. I was like, oh, I don't have to speak in church? Great. That's the worst thing. I'm getting over that. But, so I will talk, so here are some hinge points or forks in the road that I had in my story. And then also God in his faithfulness there's been Ebenezer's as well. I'm going to not get emotional. I'm going to tell myself that's not going to happen, and it's going to happen right now. Okay. I have always thought of 5 pillars I've had in my life. I had my mom, my dad, my grandma, my granddad, and my church. And they all had such an immense influence on who I am, how I came to Christ, how I journeyed through this. And in the course of 9 years, 4 out of 5 of my pillars were gone. This is where it gets emotional. This is the 3rd time I've shared this, so this is like me still hot processing it somewhat. But in 2001, I was 10. My granddad passed away. And he had like a battle with cancer, so it wasn't like the greatest passing. And then in the fall of 2008, I don't know why this is emotional. This has been 16 years ago. I'm in the hospital with my parents, and my dad gets a cancer diagnosis, which he then turned to me and said, "I really wish you didn't hear it that way." I was like, well, here we are, right? And I just was like, I just felt the Lord say, you know what? Just pray about it. Give it to me. Everything will work out. I, of course, being a good Christian girl, say, Mom and Dad, if we pray about it and give it to the Lord, it'll be okay. And they're like, do you want to pray? And I was like, Mom and Dad, if you pray about it, everything will be okay. No. So I prayed. And I really just felt peace. Like I was like, we're gonna get past this. It's gonna be great. And then in January of 2009, our grandma passed away very suddenly. And 6 weeks later in February, my dad passed. And I just said to the Lord, I was like, God, my definition of everything's gonna be all right, and your definition are completely different. And it was one of those things that like I never really thought that I struggled with anger towards God. Like I knew I was disappointed in him because that obviously was not the outcome I wanted, like any of us wanted. But I was like, okay, you don't get mad at God because that's not what you do. As a Christian, you can't have those feelings towards God. So then in 2010, my family was pushed out of the church and community that we had been a part of for 25 years. It was like almost a year to the day. And so here I am at 19, losing spiritual and physical safety nets. I'm in a new church. And I remember sitting in a sermon and seeing so clearly, it was not ironically, but it was a Palm Sunday. We had visited this church, and as the pastor was talking, he was talking about how palm trees their roots will wrap around a rock. So when the winds come, they bend a little bit, but they don't ever break. And while he was preaching that, the Lord showed me, here you are, here's a fork in the road. You go this way, you walk away from me, and you don't come back. If you go this way, I will draw you into a relationship with me like you've never experienced. So I was like, okay, how do I serve in this church? Like, I want to make sure that I'm not going that way. I want to go that way. And that was when I was for sure confirmed for me that I did not like public speaking, was at this church. And I will say I submitted to authority and spoke publicly several times. And it was painful every time. So if we fast forward like a couple years, I'm 21. I've never attended church without my family. And the Lord drops in my heart, hey, you should leave. And I was like, hey, get thee behind me, Satan. No. And for 4 months, about 4 months, I just sat there struggling with the Lord. I was like, I don't think I'm supposed to leave. I don't think I'm supposed to leave. And it just was like, then things happened and it was just like, yep, you should go. And I sat down with my mom and I said, hey, I think I really need to go. So I meet with the pastor and I said, hey, I feel like the Lord's telling me it's kind of time to move on. And he goes, yeah, God's been telling me that too. And I was like, so you watched me struggle for 4 months and you could have helped me? I apparently cast a lot of blame. But so that was like, I left the church and it was one of the scariest decisions I ever made because I knew that my family was not coming with me, and this was a journey I had to, like, I don't know how do you search for a good church? What's a healthy church? I've seen bits of health in churches, but I've never seen a fully healthy church, right? And so God remembered me, and my brother left with me, and I didn't have to do this by myself. And I wasn't ever really by myself anyway, but I found Village within 2 months of trying different churches. And what I will say is, Pastor Michael has so very helpfully showed me this. As I've cried to him, we have like routinely VBS Decor Week, like hot processing. But he helped me to see that like all of the things that I thought I lost, God has brought. He has given me community, healing, and a place where I was able to walk out the calling God had placed on my life. And this goes back to when I was probably 11 years old, sitting at this church. We had a couple visiting, and they had a really great children's ministry, and they just dropped a couple wisdom bombs of like, a child's moral compass is fully developed by the age of 5. And I was like, oh, someone should teach these 0 to 5-year-olds about Jesus, and someone should lay that moral compass for them. And God was like, hey, how about you do that? So that sparked a passion for teaching the littles. And then I was at a seminar, and they said, oh, what a person believes by 13 is what they will usually die believing. I was like, oh, so it's not just the littles, it's like student ministries. And so after about a year or two of wrestling with the Lord again and sitting in meetings, hearing about the needs in Awana and the needs in Forge, I was like, that's so hard. I will pray that the Lord will provide for you. And all the while, the Lord was saying, I will provide you for them. And I was like, really? And then last year, the Lord orchestrated some really awkward events in my life that just led me to be like, Brianne, do you guys still need someone in Forge on Thursday nights? Because I can't be where I used to be on Thursday nights, which happens to be a sushi Oreo scenario. I was like, no sushi Oreos for me. So anyway, so I have seen, like, in God's faithfulness, he has opened so many doors for me through this act of obedience from a scared 21-year-old that didn't know what was going on. And it's just a passion that just he incubated and like kept safe through all of these big changes that happened in my life, was to be like, I want to share. The best part of me is God, and I want to share that with other people. I don't know what is happening. I'm sorry. But anyway, so most of you know that I serve in Village Kids. I am the Cubbies director, which they are hysterical. I encourage anybody, if you're like, hey, you know who's really fun we should serve with? Megan and Cubbies, because they are hilarious. And it has been such a joy. But then I was like, and then God kept saying, like, what about Forge? And I was like, okay, Forge, that's a little bit different. They're like people with, like, I can't just be like, oh, hey, like, you know what I mean? Like little kids, right? I guess I could, but like little kids, like you just like walk in and you're like, oh, hey, we're all kind of goofy together. And my body doesn't do that. You know what I mean? Like, but I will say, like, here I am, faithfully following God on this journey that he has brought me on, being able to look back and see all of the times that he genuinely held my hand through it. And it's all was like sparked, like looking back at this, oh gosh, I'll be 34 on Saturday, which feels like a big number to me. But this all started with a desire and a passion that God dropped in my heart at 11 years old. And look at his, like, all of the things that I had to walk through to get to where I am right now. And all I can say is, like, I wouldn't change any of it. Well, that's not true. The only thing I would change is that, like, my dad wouldn't die, but I'd bring him here. Like, I don't want to, like, that's the only thing. If I could change anything, just him here. But I can't. So I really wouldn't change anything, right? So anyway, that's my story.
Wow. All of those were awesome. Thank you guys for sharing. It was really cool hearing pieces that I haven't heard before, and hopefully you guys were very encouraged as I was. I think a great way to summarize all of those, as Megan just said, is the best part about me is God, is Jesus. And for those of you that follow Jesus, I think we can all affirmatively say the same thing. The best part about us is who we follow and who we're trying to become like. So in light of that, we're going to have small groups, and there are some small group questions that we have that your leaders have, and also it's on the screen, and then there's slips of paper if you guys want to grab those before you go out. But just all created by those three, by Dom, Natalie, and Megan. So process them, talk about them, and hopefully this is encouragement for you guys to share your story as well. So let's head to small groups, and we'll see you guys for snack.